Good morning, students. In the previous class, we discussed about the rules which are used to fill the orbitals with the electrons. Out of the rules, the first rule we discussed already in the previous class, that is Aufbau principle. So what we discussed about that rule, according to that rule, the electrons will be entered first into the orbitals of lower energy. After completely filling the orbitals of lower energy, then the electrons starts to enter into the orbitals of higher energy. Okay, the energy of orbitals, how to find, or which we have to remember, at least everything we discussed in the previous class. Now coming to the next rule, the second rule regarding the filling of orbitals with electrons, that is Pauli's principle, or simply Pauli's rule. Now, coming to this rule given by Pauli's is, it is also called as Pauli's exclusion principle. Now, regarding this one, what he given is, according to this rule, no two electrons in an atom will have same set of 4 quantum numbers. Okay, we already discussed about the 4 quantum numbers. What are the quantum numbers? We have principal quantum number n, azimuthal quantum number L, magnetic quantum number M, and the spin quantum number S. Okay, so according to this rule, no two electrons in an atom will have same set of 4 quantum numbers. That is what we already know, because in the starting, for what purpose we are using these quantum numbers means we discussed at that time. Okay, because these 4 quantum numbers are used to distinguish between one electron to the other electron, or these are used to distinguish between the orbitals also, one orbital to the other orbital. Okay, so if 2 electrons have same set of 4 means it will be useless, it cannot distinguish between the orbitals. So that is why, according to him, no 2 electrons have same set of 4 quantum numbers. All 4 quantum numbers never be same for an electron in the same atom. Okay, out of the 4, maybe sometimes any of the 3 may becomes same, but the electrons will be differentiated with any one of the 4 quantum numbers. Okay, now coming to the statement wise, let's note down the statement regarding the Pauli's rule. The statement is, according to this rule, according to Pauli's rule, no two electrons have same set of 4 quantum numbers. Okay, no 2 electrons in an atom have same set of 4 quantum numbers in an atom. Okay, in the particular atom, any type of atom you take, if you observe the quantum numbers, out of the 4, any 3 may become same, but they will be differentiated by one particular quantum number. Okay, practically we will discuss some examples, then you will get clarity. Here, if you observe the electrons present in a 2s orbital I have taken, what is the capacity of the orbital? We know s orbital can accommodate 2 electrons. Not only s, any orbital can accommodate 2 electrons only. Now coming to the 2s orbital, it can accommodate 2 electrons we are telling, but coming to the quantum numbers of these 2s orbital, 2s means principal quantum number value is 2, azimuthal quantum number is how much, amma? For s orbital, L value is 0. Next, for example, now coming to the m, for s orbital, m value anyway 0. I told you L values, M values will be from minus L to plus L. So it won't be like minus 0 plus 0. For L, for S orbital, L value is 0, M value is also 0. Okay. For example, if I take an electron in this, it is written in clockwise direction. So its S value is plus half. Right. Now, in the same manner, if I take the electron present in 1s orbital, if I take, so in that 1s orbital, what is n value? N value is 1, L value 0, M value is also 0. And for that one electron only present means it will be represented with a clockwise direction. So S value for that is plus half. Okay. Now once observe these two electrons in that particular atom. All these three quantum numbers are same. L, M, S are same for these two cases, but they are differentiated using the quantum number n. Okay. So some other cases, if you go, for example, now I am going to take 2p2. Okay. So 2p2 means a p subshell. We know it will have 3 orbitals. Now this is first electron, this is second electron. Let it be. Now I am going to write a second electron. For this electron, if we want to write quantum numbers, n value what am? 2p2. So n value is 2. What about L value? L value is 1. Okay. What about M values? In the previous class we discussed L value is 1. So M values will be how much? Minus 1, 0, plus 1. Okay. Our electron is present in this orbital. So corresponding M value is 0. Okay. Clockwise direction. So S value is plus half. Now compare these two cases. If you observe these two cases, n value 2, so same, M value 0, here also same, S value is also same. But once if you observe the L values of these two cases, they are different. Okay. So that is what Pauli's exclusion principle explains. Okay. So no two electrons in an atom have same set of 4 quantum numbers. They may have any 3 may be same, but they will be differentiated by any one of the quantum number. Here, the above rule, what finally it is explaining is, we are telling that an orbital can accommodate 2 electrons. Okay. So orbital means, for understanding purpose, we are representing as a square box. Okay. For our convenience, we are representing an orbital simply in this square box while writing electronic configuration. Now, we know this orbital can accommodate 2 electrons, and from the spin quantum number we came to know the 2 electrons in the orbital will have different spin. One will have clockwise, another one will have anti-clockwise. Okay. So the one with clockwise we are representing with this type of arrow, the other one anti-clockwise one we are representing with this type of arrow. Okay. So one will have plus half as a spin quantum number, the other one will have minus half as spin quantum number. Okay. So from the above rule we are coming to know that an orbital can accommodate only 2 electrons, one with the clockwise, another one with the anti-clockwise direction. Okay. So after this statement, note down one more thing. According to the above rule, an orbital can accommodate 2 electrons only with opposite spin. Okay, so one with the clockwise direction, another one with the anti-clockwise. Because if they don't have opposite spin, then these two electrons have same quantum number, right? Understood the logic or not? Here the orbital can accommodate only two electrons, and those two electrons will have opposite spin, one clockwise, another one anti-clockwise. Then they will be differentiated by spin quantum number. Okay, n value, l value, m values will be same, but these two electrons will have spin quantum number different. Okay, that was clearly given by Pauli's rule. Okay, what the rule statement is: according to this rule, no two electrons can have same set of 4 quantum numbers. Okay. Now, coming to the third rule. And the third rule is a very important one, Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, or Hund's rule of multiplicity, simply Hund's rule. Okay. Till now we came to know the electrons first enter into the orbitals of lower energy, and every orbital will contains only 2 electrons with opposite spin. Now what this rule explains? Now coming to this Hund's rule, statement wise if you see, while filling a orbital, for example I am going to take a p orbital. A p subshell means how many orbitals are there? In the previous class we discussed a p subshell will have 3 orbitals. Okay, px, py, pz. Right? Now for example, now I want to fill this orbital with the electrons. We need to know what is the capacity of this orbital first. 3 orbitals means each orbital 2 electrons. So total it can accommodate 6 electrons, right? A p orbital can accommodate total, p subshell can accommodate total 6 electrons. Now while we are going to fill these subshells with the electrons, first of all we should fill the completely all the orbitals with the single electron, means the electron with clockwise direction only. Okay, listen carefully. According to this rule, the orbitals in a subshell first completely filled with a single electron. Then after completely filling all the orbitals with a single electron, then the next coming electron will enters with anti-clockwise direction. Understood? Got the logic or not? Okay. For example, in a p orbital, they given 2 electrons are present. How you will represent? Somebody may think, sir, here first box is there. You said one orbital can accommodate 2 electrons. So means in our language, simply one box can accommodate 2. So I want to write the 2 electrons like this. It is correct? It is wrong. Okay? What this rule says? While filling the orbitals in a subshell, we should fill the orbitals first with the clockwise direction. Then after complete filling all the orbitals with the clockwise direction, then only the electrons will be enters with the anti-clockwise direction. Okay? So when 2 electrons are there, we should write like this. We cannot write like this. Okay? This is against to Hund's rule. Right? Now note down the statement. Statement wise, coming to the Hund's rule, according to this rule, the electrons First you write as a subshell. According to this rule, all the orbitals in a subshell should be filled with single electron. Single electron, nothing but electron with clockwise direction. Okay. So all the orbitals in a subshell, these are the orbital. This whole thing is known as a subshell. So all the orbitals in a subshell should be filled with single electron. I told you single electron means which will be in the clockwise direction. Okay. After completely filling all the orbitals with a single electron, then the next coming electron enters with anti-clockwise direction. Okay. Once go through the statement given by Hund's rule. So according to this, all the orbitals in a subshell should be filled with single electron first. Okay. Then after completely filling all the orbitals with single electron, then the next coming electron will be enters with anti-clockwise direction. Okay. So this is statement wise. Now while filling the orbitals, once if we use all these rules, one or two cases if we use the rules, then you will get clarity about all the three. Because coming to the regular exam point of view, these rules are important. Even sometimes in competitive exams also they are asking about these rules. Okay. So till now we discussed about the rules for filling the electrons into the orbitals. Now after learning all these, now let us discuss about electronic configuration. Electronic configuration. Now coming to the electronic configuration means representation of electrons in the orbitals. Remember, electronic configuration should be represented in the way like n into, it should be represented as n l power x. Okay, electronic configuration of an electron in orbitals is represented as n l power x. Now out of the terms given there, n means we know. N means what? It is principal quantum number. We already know about this one. Now coming to the L. L we know. It azimuthal quantum number. Now coming to that X. X represents the number of electrons in the orbital. Okay. Now regarding the representation of electronic configuration, it should be represented as n l power x. N means principal quantum number. What it represents? Orbit number. L, azimuthal quantum number, represents the subshell. X represents number of electrons in the particular orbital. Okay. or subshell. Now, let us fill the electrons in the orbitals of different atoms. Now, let us start with our simple one, hydrogen. We know its atomic number is 1, so it contains 1 electron. Where the 1 electron is present, we know. I think yesterday you practiced the energy order of orbitals. So first the electrons enter into 1s orbital, then electrons enter into 2s, 2p, then 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d. In the previous class I told you at least minimum these orbitals order you should remember, because minimum up to 30 elements this will be enough. Okay, even after this how to write which orbitals will come, everything, that order I given to you, even the Euler's diagram also given to you. Now at least minimum to write the electronic configuration up to 30 elements, every one of you should know that order. Okay, now coming to that, first orbital is what? 1s orbital. So the electrons first enters into 1s orbital. The capacity of orbital is 2, because we know capacity of s orbital is 2 electrons. A p subshell can accommodate, I given the for that formula also to you, 2 into 2l plus 1. So p orbital can accommodate 6 electrons. A d orbital 2 into 2l plus 1. So it can accommodate total of 10 electrons. F orbital 14 electrons. Okay, there will be 7 orbitals, so 14 electrons. Here s means 1 orbital, 2 electrons only. We have only 1 electron, so it can be represented as 1s1. N value n l x. Okay, n represents orbit number. This represents orbital or subshell. This x represents number of electrons. Now only 1 electron is present. How to write that 1 electron? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? That is what given by Hund's rule. The third rule what we discussed. What it says? First the electron should be filled with clockwise direction, then only pairing takes place with anti-clockwise. Now if you go for the next element, helium, in its electronic configuration, first the electrons enters into 1s orbital. It is having 2 electrons, so 1s2. Now it is having 2 electrons, one with clockwise, another one with anti-clockwise. Now coming to the next, lithium having 3 electrons. So can I write 1s3? Is it correct or not? 100% it is wrong. You cannot write 1s3. Sir, why don't we write 1s3? Because s orbital capacity how much? 2 electrons only. So you cannot write 1s3. So out of the 3 electrons we have, so out of the 3, first we return the 2 electrons in 1s orbital. Then go to the next orbital which is available. What is the orbital having somewhat higher energy than 1s? That is a 2s orbital. How many electrons left? Out of the 3, 2 already written. Now 1 is left. So 2s 1. And next, coming to the representation, these 2 electrons can be represented, one with clockwise, another one with anti-clockwise. Coming to this one, this will be represented with clockwise. Next element, beryllium, having 4 electrons. So anyway 1s2. Next, the electrons enters into 2s orbital. How many electrons left? 2 left. Now coming to the representation. Okay, one with the clockwise, another one with the anti-clockwise direction. Now coming to the next element. I know it will be somewhat boring for the students who already learned all these things. Okay, but I know even starting also I told you many of you may learn these already, but still anyway once go through all these, write by your own. Okay. Next, coming to the next element, boron having 5 electrons. Already first 2 electrons enters into 1s orbital, then the electrons enters into 2s orbital. Out of the 5, 2 already written here. Can we write 3 here? No. S orbital capacity is always 2 only. Whether it is 1s, 2s or 3s, anyway a s subshell capacity is only 2 electrons. So 4 we already filled. So the next electron will enter into which orbital? After 2s, which will come? 2p. So we have only 1 electron left in the p orbital. Okay. Here some of you may do one mistake. While representing this p orbital, sir, only 1 electron is there. So somebody will write as 1 box only. Okay. So don't do like that. A p subshell means it contains 3 orbitals. So whether it has 1 electron or 2 electrons, always we should represent the 3 boxes. Right? 1 electron only there, somebody will write like this. Is it is correct means 100% wrong. Okay? Whether it is having 1 electron or 3 electrons or 6 electrons, whatever it is, while representing a p subshell, we should represent in these 3 boxes because it will have 3 orbitals. Now next element, carbon having 6 electrons. So first 1s2, 2s2, so 4 over. So how many will come into 2p orbital? So 2 more will come. Now coming to the representation, how to represent these 2 electrons? Can we represent both electrons in the same box? No, that is what Hund's rule says. All these orbitals should be filled with single electron in clockwise direction. Okay? After completely filling this only, then we should go for pairing. Now next, nitrogen, 7 electrons. So already 4. Now how many left in the p orbital? There will be 3 comes into the p orbital. So coming to the representation, 1, 2 and the 3. Okay. So all the orbitals in the subshell are having same clockwise direction. Okay. There is a symmetry which is known as half filled orbital. Okay. Half filled orbital. P orbital capacity how much? It can accommodate total 6 electrons. Now we filled it with 3 electrons. So that is what is known as half filled orbital. Why I am particularly mentioning about half filled? Because if the orbitals are filled with half filled, okay, means single electrons in that particular subshell, then the element gets some extra stability. Okay. Next, oxygen, 8 electrons, 2, 4, still how many left? 4 left. Anyway, P can accommodate up to 6. So the remaining 4 electrons now entered into p orbital. Now coming to the representation, 1, 2, 3. Now how to write the 4th electron? Again the 4th electron comes into this first orbital with anti-clockwise direction. Okay. So this is filling of electrons into the orbitals. Now first copy these, then we will discuss fluorine onwards. You write by your own. Don't simply copy from this. Just after writing, once you cross check from the video. Now coming to the next element, fluorine. Atomic number of fluorine is 9. So it is having 9 electrons. So first electrons goes to 1s2, 2s2, so 4 over, remaining 5 electrons are present in p orbital. Now coming to the representation of this one, now 1, 2, 3, now all are entered with clockwise, fourth one and fifth one. Now pairing takes place with the anti-clockwise direction. Next, neon. So you are having 10 electrons. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Anyway, p orbital can accommodate 6 electrons. So now I am going to fill the orbitals with the electrons. Okay. Now coming to the next element, sodium. Now coming to the filling of orbitals, 1s2, 2s2, can I write it as a 2p7? Because it having 11 electrons, so 4 already filled, remaining 7 can we write in 2p? No, because p orbital capacity is 6, so already it is over. So 6 I written here. Okay, so 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10. Still how many electrons are left? 1 electron is left. Now the next orbital is what? 1s, 2s, 2p. Then the next orbital is 3s. So that electron, single electron, written in the 3s orbital. Only 1 electron means it should be always represented with clockwise direction. Next, magnesium. 12 electrons, so 2p6. Anyway, S can accommodate 2, so the 2, one with clockwise, another one with anti-clockwise. Now coming to the next element, aluminium. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. So till here, how many? 12 electrons. Still one more electron we have. So we cannot write in 3s orbital because s orbital capacity 2, so already filled. So what is the next orbital we have after 3s? We know 3p orbital will come. That 13th electron I will write in 3p orbital. Now coming to the representation we know. So only one electron with the clockwise direction. Now coming to the next element, the 14th element, silicon. Now coming to the configuration, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. So till here how many electrons? 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10 plus 2, 12. Still we have 2 more. Those 2 more electrons are written in 3p orbital. Now how to represent these 2 electrons? Can we write like this pair? No. First the orbital should be filled with 1 electron. Now coming to the next, phosphorus. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2 will have 14, here 15. So the next electron enters into 3p orbital, 3p3. So again if you observe this element, here also we got half filled electronic configuration. Now next, sulfur, 16 electrons. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p4. Okay. Now how to write these 4 electrons? So first 1, 2, 3, then the 4th electron should be undergo pairing. Means should be written in anti-clockwise direction. Next, a well-known element, chlorine. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. One, two, three, fourth electron, and this is fifth electron. Next, 18th one. After chlorine, argon. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. Previous one is 3p5. Now it is a 3p6. How to represent the 6 electrons? Maximum capacity of p orbital it reached. So all are paired. Okay. So this previous one, if you observe in the case of phosphorus, this is called as a half filled configuration. Now coming to this one, here all the orbitals in the subshell are filled with the electrons. So this is known as completely filled orbital. Okay. This is half filled. So all are filled with single electron. Now all are paired. So this is completely filled electronic configuration. Okay. When the element is having half filled or completely filled electronic configuration, then it gets some extra stability. Okay. Now copy these. Write by your own all these. Then 19th element onwards we will discuss. Now, coming to the 19th element. 19th element is potassium. Now, coming to its configuration, or I think you have idea, instead of writing all these, we can write the noble gases in a simple form. Also we can represent using the noble gas. Till argon we written. So if I say simply it is in the square brackets, if we represent like this, the simple form representation of electronic configuration. Okay. So till argon, the 18 electrons we represented. Now coming to the 19th electron. So in the argon, which orbital is completely filled? 3p. After 3p, which orbital will come? 4s or 3d? We discussed, depending on n plus l value, 4s is having lower energy than 3d. So after 3p, the electrons will enter into 4s orbital. So the 19th electron enters like this. Understood this notation or not? So instead of writing 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, till now argon we written. Instead of writing everything again, simply we can represent like this. Okay. Written argon means till argon 18 electrons are written. Now the next 19th electron enter into 4s orbital. Now coming to the next element, calcium. Now coming to representation of calcium, now it will be 4s2. Okay. 19th, this is 20th. Now coming to 21. Scandium. So after argon, argon means 18 electrons. From out of 21, when we subtract 18, we have 3 more. So out of the 3, first electrons entered into 4s. Then the next orbital is d orbital. So while writing the d orbital, we know d subshell contains 5 orbitals. So that is why whether it contains 1 electron or 2 electrons or its capacity 10, whatever the number of electrons are present in d orbital, it should be represented with 5 boxes, because a d subshell contains 5 orbitals. Regarding while writing m values, magnetic quantum number values, we discussed. Okay. Now next, titanium. So argon 4s2, 3d2. So how to write the 2 electrons? Can we write the 2 electrons as one pair? No. According to Hund's rule, first all these orbitals should be filled with a single electron in clockwise direction. Vanadium, 23 atomic number. So 4s2, 3d3. Now coming to the representation of these 3 electrons, 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Next. Now coming to the next element, 24th, chromium. This is a very important one to observe. Okay. Once look at here. It is having 24 electrons. So till argon means 18. So next what will come? The electronic configuration will get it as 4s2, 3d3 in the previous case for 23rd. So for 24th we expect 3d4. So observe it carefully. So if I write 4 electrons, so 4s2 also I am representing, it will be like this. 4 electrons. Okay. But as I told you earlier, whether the element is getting half filled or completely filled configuration, the element gets some extra stability. So because of getting that extra stability, one of the electron from 4s orbital jumps into 3d orbital. So that is why it can be written as 4s1 and 3d5. Okay. I will write somewhat down. So for chromium, we will write the electronic configuration as argon. 4s1, 3d5. Because when 5 electrons are present in 3d orbital, it gets extra stability because it is getting half filled electronic configuration. Okay. D orbital capacity is 10, but all these orbitals are filled with 1 electron. So due to these, it gets extra stability. That is why while copying also highlight this one. Chromium electronic configuration is exceptional. Instead of 4s2 3d4, it will have 4s1 3d5. Now next element, manganese. As usual, no exception, nothing. 4s2 3d5. So manganese is also having half filled electronic configuration. Okay. Here no exception, nothing. 4s2 3d4, then as usual normal 3d5. Next. Iron. So argon 18 electrons, then plus 2 20, so 6 more electrons. So will be entered into d orbital as a 3d6. Now coming to the representation, first all these filled with clockwise direction, then the next electron will be enters with anti-clockwise direction. Next, cobalt. 4s2 3d7. Now coming to the representation, 3, 4, 5, 6th electron, then 7th electron. Okay. Now coming to the next 29th element. What is the 28th element? What is the 28th element? Nickel. So it can be written as argon 18, 4s2 20. So the next 8 electrons will be enters into d orbital. Now coming to the representation, 3, 4, 5, 6th, 7th, this is our 8th electron with the anti-clockwise direction. Next 29th, copper. Here this copper is also an exception as like chromium, how we discussed. Now let us see what is the exception in the case of copper. In the case of copper, what we expect, 4s2 3d9, because it is 3d8. Now 29th will be 3d9 we expect. But coming to electronic configuration of copper, same thing, 9 electrons, how we will write them? Like this, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So if it gets one more electron, then it will become completely filled. So that is why the one electron from the s orbital will jumps into d orbital. Now it will become 4s1 3d10. Okay. In the case of chromium, we observed the exception because of getting half filled configuration. The same way of exception is copper due to getting completely filled electronic configuration. Okay. So focus on these two. While you are copying also, you highlight this. Now coming to the 13th, zinc. So argon. So 4s as usual, 4s2 3d10. So it will be also having completely filled electronic configuration. Okay. So this is the electronic configuration of 30 elements. Okay. At least minimum everybody should have idea about electronic configuration of these 30. If you write the configurations of all these by your own, automatically if I ask to write for 31st element, you will come to know. After 3D, which orbital will come? 4p orbital will come. Okay. So 31 means 4p1. Right. No need to do all for all these. At least for minimum 30 elements, every one of you should have idea about the electronic configuration, at least a basic level. Okay. Then based on this, in the next class we are going to discuss about we will discuss the problems or the questions related to quantum numbers. As I told you in the previous class also, quantum numbers is a very important topic. To solve the questions based on the quantum numbers, you should have idea about this electronic configuration. Okay. So in the study hour time, today practice all the electronic configuration of these elements. Then in the next class, we will discuss the questions based on the quantum numbers. Right. Thank you.